This is Linus Lopez. We are talking in the background of the PLDC 2019 in Rotterdam. We're going to discuss light and people. Hi Caroline. Hi Electra. Where does this aspect of light and its interaction with people come in?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how we define standards or what we mean by standards. I mean, if we're thinking about technical standards, I mean, for lighting, it's totally misleading. I mean, you can read lighting standards forever, and you can always find a way to go around. If I can tell the truth, I mean, we try. Actually, sometimes they don't make sense. So you need to find a way to go around them. So I mean that also happened, but because this shouldn't happen, you know. I mean, I think technical standards in a sense are good to guide you, but you should have the sensitivity to understand which kind of lighting class you should adapt. You should use. So I think in lighting you have a part that is technical for sure, because I mean we speak about techniques and we need to know, we need to have a technical knowledge to do our profession. That's I'm sure. Then there is a part that is, let's say design, you know, like, so it's about creativity, sensitivity, and it's part of the design process as everyone. But then is a part that is where you understand light, space, and the social space. It's really like, imagine like two pieces of paper, right? And you add on top of the social space, the light space. So it's really two layers that they need to be totally integrated. But I mean, you should start definitely with the social space. Means understanding the space you're designing for. Understanding not just in terms of space, but in social terms. Yeah. You know, like, so the users, how they move through the space, what they do, where they go, who are they? How many different stakeholders you can find on that site. Basically in that part you create the design brief, yeah. And then from there you collate all the information and you move to the design. Yeah. Now, I think this is the most difficult part, how you input all your research findings into the design. And that needs exercise, you know, and sometimes you fail. I mean, it's normal. Sometimes you fail also not just because of you, but because of the contractor, because of the manufacturer, because there's millions of aspects that can fail, you know. So I think failure is normal, you know, it's part of the learning process in a sense.
I think that's one of the things that you have also gone into in some depth, right, when you were doing your research on light poverty, right?
My research in light poverty as being also the topic for my master thesis. I was intrigued by the fact that we don't think about using light as you're not in the lighting design world or not in a lighting world. We just walk in the house, flick the switch, there's the light, we do our things, maybe we dim, maybe we use a different color, maybe we use some accent lighting at home, we go to sleep. And what if there is not that switch at the wall? What if there's daylight and that's it? How would you move? But there's so much light around us, and imagining that nobody should take care of it, and there's just light, but it has its own functions or brings up emotions. So how would that work if you're in a place where you don't have access to electricity or poor access to electricity, and you want to live beyond daylight? So if you can extend the day, either for work or either for reading a book or taking classes at school, then you broaden out a whole different community and you educate people, and maybe that affects also like the economy of the country. But then if it affects a place or a community, how would surrounding communities react to that? So there's a lot of questions. Actually, it brings up way more questions than just how would I live without light or with light, or how can I extend the day? How would other people do it? And you can't take it from Europe and project it to any other country, not even from the Netherlands to Italy or from the Netherlands to Germany. neither from the Netherlands to India, Kenya, wherever.
How would you prioritize light in this discussion on design for public realm?
I consider light as one layer of the public space. But if you don't have any public space, or if the public space is really bad, you can do whatever with lighting. It will be still bad public space, you know. We had, for example, long discussion about benches, incredibly. Really.
Very important. Yeah.
Super important, but there's plenty of discussion about benches because a lot of people, they don't want benches. Because homeless can sleep on it, people can stop there and chat and disturb the residents. So, I mean, we spent, for example, I think like 2 or 3 months convincing people that actually one council we work with, that they were needing some bench to create a public space, because if you want people to stop there, I mean, you need a place where to sit together, to you know, like. And then was a fight that we took. Instead of lighting, at some point we decided, okay, it's better to get some benches, and then the light can stay what it is, but at least they have some place where to sit. So the fact is that when you approach a place, trying to understand really the place and how it's used, then you realize many factors, and these many factors can, lighting can be one of them, but it's not the only one.
I've traveled quite a bit, but I haven't worked abroad yet on lighting design projects. But as I mentioned before, like when the lighting affects you, it will never leave you. I mean, you get infected by lighting and you can't ignore it. Wherever you go, you see light and you immediately look up. Where is the light coming from? And that's exactly the thing that you see people doing on the streets. No matter if you're in Europe, in Asia, in the States, maybe it's that I like to observe people, how they take their light. Are they looking for a bench on a square, for example? Where is that first ray of sunlight, or the last ray of sunlight? Are people, and in the Netherlands, when it's the first rays of sun in spring, you see people literally moving their chair, like hopping with the changing of the sun to take that sunlight, but also inside, where does the light come from? So to me it's more the direction of light, how people react to the direction of light, and then also the color temperature. Maybe do they really appreciate if they use artificial lighting, the warmer temperatures or the cooler temperatures, or maybe very much color. And then you keep on going to the cultural background and background of the country. So also eliminating light means that light is a priority, or one of the priorities for urban space after daylight.
She's right.